What is the difference between collaboration and debate? This is a terrifically important question in our present, highly politicized world. In the history of humanity, how often has debate been the foundation of decision making? Debate is often competition-based. It's based upon the assumption of one human or one group being better than another, more right than another. Debate is a form of war, whether verbal war, there's energetically, oddly enough, people who are in a state of debate are in an energetic wrestling match, tussling with each other, even if it's not visible on the 6 o'clock news, so to speak. The energy may be felt viscerally and it's transparent to most people's eyes. And that said, it's still there. So is debate a process? Is its intention to learn from another? If there's going to be somebody who's right, then there's supposed to be somebody who's wrong, somebody who's conquered or vanquished or made less than or made to feel that they didn't have as good a point or as good a perspective or as high an intention as somebody else. And often debate is associated with who's going to make decisions or who's going to be supposedly in control or who's going to be in power or who's going to have more than somebody else. And that process of debate can be incredibly subtle, meaning that debate can, have you ever heard someone insinuate a conversation into a debate? If they were to say, obviously you haven't thought this through. Or, I wouldn't have seen it that way. Such subtleties of language and process are endemic in ego process, tribal process, organizational dynamics, and they remain, for the most part, hidden or at least partly obscured, incompletely recognized, and they thus undermine collaboration because they're attempting to generate debate. They're attempting to generate a polar opposite scenario of winner and loser, conqueror and vanquished. So this dynamic of, and oddly enough, there are even what might be termed traditions of debate amongst highly spiritual groups in the world, even Tibetans, Buddhists that you might assume were seeking to transcend all of this. One of their traditions, and I'm open to being wrong, is in our understanding is of ongoing debate. So in our challenged world, how do we remain equanimous in our dynamic of learning from each other collaboratively and openly and receptively? If we were to subtract ego from the process and duality from the process and identity from the process and tribe from the process and history from the process, then would debate turn into collaboration? If we have a way to leapfrog traditional debate into conscious collaboration, is that a useful service? The process of pain is key and core to the process of shifting the management of one's own pain, emotional pain, reactive pain, fear of abandonment, fear of being judged, fear of being criticized, fear of being less than in the presence of perceived other, is it allows the dissolution of ego allows collaborative discussion and mutual learning and arrived at understandings. If it's a struggle, if it's one attempting to subjugate or diminish or demean or make less of other, conquer or eliminate other, the definition of competition I've read before is elimination of other. How could we get to a peaceful world through that process? How could we get to a functional, sustainable world through eliminating perceived other? So this question of how, and this is a challenge for us as an organization that we would like to present to you folks, if you're open to it today. If we as an organization attain this capacity to collaborate and talk about anything in a healthy, caring, loving, compassionate, sensitive, receptive, non-judgmental, non-projective, non-fearful kind of way, are we going to empower each other fundamentally? Are we going to serve each other constantly and serve humanity by offering a model of ongoing constructive conscious collaboration rather than ego-based conflict, disagreement, judgmentalness, criticism, betterness than seeking, or controlling other via the information that we would offer. If that were in essence manipulation, because debate could be seen as manipulation in part, I mean, in its egoic forms or tribalized forms or politicized forms, as a mechanism of verbal manipulation of individuals or groups rather than operating from an ongoing conscious collaboration where people arrive at shared understandings that they may not all like and they can live with, or they can appreciate the necessity of, or they can accept, so that they don't say, oh yeah, we're going to accept that for now, and then later they try to sabotage the process or have terrorist activities as a way of venting their unresolved emotional dynamics. So is this question, if we want to be able to generate a sustainable life process for humanity, is this question how we shift out of conflict and disagreement and tribalized or egoic debate into constructive and conscious collaboration as a species and as nations and as peoples and cultures? Is this slide kind of where it's at? And the question is, how do we, in love, kindness, and care, support that evolution of social process, shifting from like our current divisive dynamic of debate, which has turned into hateful, critical judgmentalness between the political parties of our nation? How do we help them shift out of that dynamic that has become so polarized as to have stymied our capacity to deal with COVID or with climate change or anything else that operates on that scale? How do we help people and the nation shift into a mode of collaboration?